All right, let's jump right into it. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to actually break down the mechanical architecture of the U.S. money-making system. We're looking strictly at the source material today to uncover how massive wealth is really built. A lot of people just assume extreme wealth is about, winning the geographic lottery, inheriting a massive fortune, or just getting unbelievably lucky. But actually, the reality is completely different. It's a highly defined structural system. So today, we're focusing specifically on why mindset acts as the absolute true driver of top-tier 1% wealth, and how shifting your perspective is really the ultimate key to unlocking all these systems. Let's get under the hood. Okay, look at the stark contrast we've got here. On one end of the spectrum, you see the immense, almost incomprehensible scale of unlimited capital, right? We're talking Wall Street, Silicon Valley, luxury mansions, billionaires casually boarding private jets. It literally looks like a world of infinite resources. But then, running totally parallel to this is the reality for millions of ordinary Americans who are just trapped in a relentless cycle, often working multiple jobs just to stay afloat and pay the bills. Now, as an observer, it's incredibly easy to look at this massive divide and feel totally overwhelmed, or just assume the whole game is rigged right from the start. But the data and the actual architecture of the economy tell a completely different story. We're neutrally observing this divide today to understand exactly how that massive capital actually operates, and why this gap even exists in the first place. And that brings us to the foundational premise of our entire explainer today. The U.S. economy creates wealth through specific, highly structured engines. It's not an accident. It's definitely not just luck. You see, when you stop viewing wealth as this mysterious winning lottery ticket and actually start viewing it as an engine with gears and levers, well, you can actually learn how to operate it. This is a massive mindset shift right off the bat. Instead of being totally intimidated by a high-performance vehicle, you just pop the hood. You identify the spark plugs, the fuel lines, the transmission. Once you see the individual parts, the whole mystery just completely disappears. You quickly realize that when you're looking at successful entrepreneurs or massive startups, you aren't witnessing magic. You are witnessing the output of a very deliberate, understandable machine. So what exactly are the parts of this machine? Well, the American economy basically offers these 5 distinct wealth vehicles. Now, while an average mindset might interact with, say, real estate just to buy a primary home to live in, the 1% mindset uses it completely differently. They combine real estate alongside entrepreneurship, the stock market, technology, and venture capital, treating them all like interconnected gears. They don't just pick one sector, they use them to multiply each other. Entrepreneurship creates immense value out of absolutely thin air. The stock market lets literally anyone own a fractional piece of the world's most profitable companies. Technology gives you this unprecedented, frictionless global scale. And then venture capital, that acts as the high-octane fuel for those ambitious ideas. The ultra-wealthy are operating across all these sectors at the exact same time, using a mindset built entirely around compounding their efforts rather than just, working harder. Okay, so how do these engines actually operate out there in the real world? They generally follow a highly predictable 3-step blueprint. Step 1 is pretty simple. Just launch a small idea. Every massive tech company or huge investment firm started as just a basic concept sketched out on a whiteboard somewhere. But Step 2 is the critical inflection point where linear growth suddenly turns into exponential wealth. This is where you leverage technology and venture capital. You inject that small idea with digital scale and the rapid funding you need to grow at absolute light speed. And finally, Step 3 is scaling it into a massive billion-dollar business. The mindset difference here is absolutely crucial. The 1% aren't just trying to build a comfortable little mom-and-pop shop, right? They're engineering their ideas from day one to attract leverage and utilize technology for practically infinite scale. Now, if those 5 sectors are the engine, we really have to look at the fuel. And that fuel is the invisible force of compounding investments. Honestly, compounding is the ultimate test of the wealthy mindset. It requires this profound discipline to delay immediate gratification so that time, which is by far your greatest asset, can do all the heavy lifting for you. It's just the strict mathematical reality of money-making. When early capital is reinvested back into those structured engines, like the stock market or real estate, it begins to snowball exponentially. It doesn't require physical labor, it requires patience and a structural understanding that money itself can actually be put to work as your most tireless, reliable employee. It never sleeps. So this brings us to a really pivotal question for your own financial journey, and honestly, it's the absolute core of what we're unpacking today. If these engines exist, if venture capital, compounding, and real estate are just out there in the open, completely accessible to be studied, why do some people achieve total financial freedom while others remain completely stuck in that relentless paycheck-to-paycheck cycle we talked about at the very beginning? If the fundamental rules of the economic game are exactly the same for everyone, why are the human outcomes so vastly, drastically different? I want you to just let that sink in for a second. The system is the same, so what actually changes? Well, the divergence between these two realities happens entirely in the mind. Seriously, it's all about mindset. The average worker mindset operates on a strict linear equation, trading hours for dollars. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. If you get sick, take a vacation, or simply need to stop working, well, the money stops completely. Conversely, the wealthy mindset completely rejects this linear equation. It asks an entirely different question. How can I build systems, leverage technology, or acquire assets that literally pay me whether I'm sleeping, traveling, or just sitting on a beach somewhere? It's a fundamental identity level shift from being a laborer to being an owner. Remember, that top 1% wealth isn't achieved by just grinding out 100 times more hours. That's physically impossible. It's achieved by shifting your mindset to focus exclusively on building leverage. But how do you actually make that mental leap? To shift into that wealthy mindset, you absolutely need financial education. Now, to be clear, this isn't exactly what you learn in traditional schooling. Traditional schooling generally teaches you to be a really great employee, to fit perfectly into that linear time for money equation. Financial education, on the other hand, is the applied knowledge of managing money, understanding taxes, and leveraging credit. It actually teaches you to be the architect of your own wealth. Think of it as your translator. Without it, trying to navigate the economy is kind of like wandering through a foreign country without a map or a smartphone. Understanding this specialized language is exactly what allows you to start interacting with those wealth engines with total confidence. And here is what that looks like in practice. This toolkit represents the highly practical application of the wealthy mindset. It starts with foundational defense, optimizing your taxes so your hard-earned capital actually stays within your ecosystem, and utilizing credit smartly so you can build assets using other people's money. From there, you go on offense. You launch side hustles to generate necessary seed capital. Then you aggressively scale those operations using modern leverage, things like AI and online businesses, which are amazing because they require incredibly low overhead but offer massive global reach. Ultimately, the entire goal of this progression is to convert all of that active effort into passive income streams and diversified investing strategies. It's a cohesive playbook, right? Moving systematically from basic defense to highly scalable automated offense. I really want to leave you with this final empowering thought directly from our source material. The system isn't hidden. It rewards those who understand